We're trying to decide between a bold lip
and a colorful
eyeliner. But guess what?
We're gonna do both.
We're gonna do both.
First, we're gonna go in with primer. I love this one from Dr. Brandt. It's their Pore Refiner Primer. Dab it into the T-zone, because those are the areas that usually get oily first.
What time it is? It's time for a beauty boost.
After I put on the primer, I like to push it in further with a wet sponge, and that will really get it melted into the skin before we put foundation. We're gonna take the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation, and I love to match the neck just to make sure the foundation is seamless.
And I like to be super tan because it makes you look thinner.
I like to dot the foundation on and kind of spread it on with my hands. That way you get the most out of the product. And then I take a wet velvet sponge from Elcie Cosmetics and I just tap it in.
My mole, Chloe, my mole.
We're taking the Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer and I put it on the areas that I want to brighten, and under the eye I didn't go too close to the lash line because I want to keep it from creasing. I'm going to use the pointed edge to start blending in the concealer, and I'm tapping, I'm not rubbing, because I want to keep the concealer in place. It's really important to kind of take the concealer lower onto the cheek. If you just concentrate it under the eye, you'll always be able to see the difference between the concealer and the foundation. So don't be afraid to take your concealer lower. It actually makes it more natural.
So less is not more.
Sometimes less is not more. Next, I'm taking the powder to set it. I love this one from Elcie. It's in medium tan. So it has a little bit of a tint to it, that way you don't get the white flashback. And I love just putting it on my sponge, like I literally dip the sponge in there and pat it under the eye.
You haven't used one brush this entire time.
I also hate washing brushes, so this is like a great tip for all you girls who are kind of like lost in the brush department. You put your sponge to work. Use it for your foundation, use it for your concealer, use it for your powder.
What is the difference with letting it bake versus just automatically blending the setting powder?
So baking could be really heavy sometimes, and just putting it on your sponge and blending it all the way in is kind of like a nice between setting it with a brush and baking. Still get that like brightening, like set effect, but you're not having to let the makeup sit, which we don't always have time for. Now we're contouring with the KKW contour stick. This one is in the shade dark, and I'm just gonna lightly draw a line here, taking the same sponge, and then tap it in.
Is this gonna make me look like Kim Kardashian West? The comment of do not make noise does not apply. So you are hearing dishes being washed and people grabbing their keys and leaving the house, and there's some more noise for you. Love the sound of dishes clinking together.
So you just give the illusion of more depth with making the hairline darker.
One thing that I love that Chloe always does to me, especially when I've eaten a little too much, you know, right now there's a little more to love, she contours my collarbone.
Taking Nars Laguna bronzer, which is like a classic, and I'm taking it with a Smashbox buildable cheek brush, tap off the excess and start patting it into the cheekbones. If you just tap it on, you'll get the most color payoff. Just a way to connect the face with the eye makeup is to take a fluffy brush with your bronzer and just kind of like throw it into the crease.
Here's the difference. You can see it. One eye. Oh my God, my eyebrow. Sad eyebrow.
I'm taking this blush from the Balm. It's called Frat Boy. And it's just a really pretty like muted pink color. Same brush. Just tap it in, tap off the excess, and pat it onto your cheekbones.
I love frat boys. Kidding, I used to love frat boys.
Start on the apples and spread it backwards. And then I also love putting it on the tip of the nose and across the bridge.
Do you remember when Cher from Clueless puts on too much blush and she can't get it off? What are your tips for people who end up putting on a little too much blush on accident?
So whenever that happens, just take the same sponge you've been using. Since it has your foundation and concealer on it, you just kind of dab it over. I also love to take the same blush I'm using, just like we did with the bronzer. Take the fluffy eye brush and just put it into the crease. And that'll just really like seamlessly tie in together the face makeup with the eye makeup. I'm taking highlighter. I'm using the Ofra palette. It's the all glowed up palette. I'm taking the gold shade on a small fluffy brush and just putting it at the high points of Nicole's cheeks. I also love taking highlighter under the brow bone. And again, we just want everything to be seamless. I'm taking that same highlighter with a small brush, and I'm just gonna put it in the inner corner of the eye. So next I'm taking the Dior Brow Styler in the shade Brown, and I love this brow pencil. It's not too dark, not too light, and I'm just kind of filling in the gaps of Nicole's eyebrows.
I ran into a tree a couple years ago and half my eyebrow came off. Where she's filling in right now is where I have the gap.
Instead of a gel today, we're using soap brows, and it's just a stronger hold version of a gel, and I just sprayed it with some setting spray. I took a spoolie, put it into the product, and then I just kind of like lifted the hairs.
Oh, it really looks like I have Persian girl eyebrows, Chloe. Chloe's already done one eye. I love a wing eye because I have really small eyes.
I'm taking the Too Faced Better Than Sex Easy Glide Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. I love how this has a brush tip and it's super black. So creating the line with the eye open is one of my favorite tips for wing liner, because then you know exactly where the flick is gonna go when the eye is open. Now that I have that line, I'm just gonna connect it back to the rest that we already created.
This is the wings on both eyes.
One of my tips is to do your setting spray before mascara, because we don't want the mascara getting wet. So I'm taking the Cover FX High Performance 24-Hour Wear Setting Spray, just giving it a good shake, and then spraying her face.
Oh, Chloe, what is this contraption? It makes me feel so royal.
This is the Patrick Ta fan, and it just helps dry down the setting spray.
So it's really important when I'm not wearing my lash extensions that I find a good mascara. Like you can see, there's like an eyelash extension still there. Okay, so I just want to show you like what it looks like with the mascara.
We're gonna pop on some falsies. I'm using the Ardell Demi Wispies. These are my favorites. They just give a nice lifted effect. Look down, don't close. We're taking this product from Dior. It's their Rouge Dior Ultra Care Liquid in number 670. And it's just like a nice deep berry pink. And I kind of took a brush and outlined her lips with it first. And I'm gonna start filling in her lips.
Really sorry for all the noise in my house. What is the key to a perfectly overlined lip?
So the key to an overline lip is to overline only in the center and then connect it back to your natural lip line at the ends. That's gonna give you the most natural overlined look.
And now I look like I just have these naturally full injected lips when I didn't have to do anything.
I love taking a spray highlight. This is from Patrick Ta and the color is in We Need Her. And I'm just gonna spray this all over her collarbones to give her an extra shine.
Juicy. And this, here's what it looks like after.